champion of the world, presenting Chuck the Iceman Liddell.
I'm coming back for everybody. I'm coming back to finish what I started. Look, I am truly trying to kill you when I'm across me in the ring. Yeah. That is my job. I'm going to try to hurt you within the rules. I'm going to try to do my best to kill you.
Hi guys, welcome to TopNewsage. Hit subscribe and press the bell icon to get notifications from TopNewsage. Today we're going to look at
Chuck Liddell's streak 21-9.
Let's get started.
Chuck Liddell is one of the famous American mixed martial artists and UFC light heavyweight champion. He has a well-known streak of 21-9, including the 23 fights in UFC, and is one of those professionals who bring MMA to the mainstream of American sports and entertainment. Due to his efforts, he was also included in the UFC Hall of Fame on 10th July 2009. He officially retired from fighting on 29th December 2010 after losing 3 consecutive fights. But recently, he appeared in a fight against Tito Ortiz on 24th November 2018. Let's see all the streak fights of Chuck Liddell. Chuck Liddell vs. Noe Hernandez 1-0. Chuck Liddell made his debut against Noe Hernandez on 15th May 1998 in UFC 17 Redemption. He was very confident to start his UFC career with a win and gave his best throughout the 12 minutes of the first round. Fortunately, he gets the decision in his favor on a unanimous decision after the first round. Chuck Liddell vs. Jose Landy Jones 2-0. Chuck Liddell faces Jose Landy Jones in his second streak fight on 23rd August 1998 in International Wheel to Roll Championship 6, the challenge which was a combat event with a limited number of rules. He was still in a learning phase, but he defeated Jose Landy on a unanimous decision after the first round. Chuck Liddell vs. Jeremy Horn 2-1. This was the third streak fight of Chuck Liddell against the experienced Jeremy Horn on 5th March 1999 in UFC 19 Young Guns. Chuck Liddell wanted to make some impact by beating Jeremy Horn, but he couldn't get the desired results. He lost the fight on KO punches after the first round of the fight. Chuck Liddell vs. Kenneth Williams 3-1. After the first loss in his career, the real peak started for Chuck Liddell. He won 10 consecutive fights after his first defeat and made a giant impact in UFC. He faced Kenneth Williams on 31st March 1999 in Neutral Grounds 11, where he won the fight on rear naked choke submission after the first round and moved his streak to 3-1. Chuck Liddell vs. Paul Jones 4-1. Chuck Liddell faces Paul Jones on 24th September 1999 in UFC 22. There can only be one champion. Paul Jones has never lost any of his 14 fights so far and is very confident of adding another win in his unbeaten streak. But Chuck Liddell proves a tough competitor of his streak, who defeated him only in one round on TKO punches. Chuck Liddell vs. Steve Heath 5-1. This fight was held on 18th July 2000 in the International Fighting Championship Warriors Challenge 9. Steve Heath was going to face Chuck Liddell with 6 wins and 1 loss so far. The fight just started as usual, but then Chuck Liddell started dominating and kicked to the head of Steve Heath in the second round. After that, Steve Heath couldn't continue the fight. Chuck Liddell vs. Jeff Monson 6-1. This time, Chuck Liddell was appearing against Jeff Monson on 16th December 2000 in UFC 29 Defense of the Belts. It was the very first fight of Chuck Liddell's career, which was entered in the third round. Both of them showed the great spirit throughout the 3 rounds, but couldn't get the desired results. In the end, the decision was made unanimously in favor of Chuck Liddell. Chuck Liddell vs. Kevin Randleman 7-1. Chuck Liddell faced Kevin Randleman on 4th May 2001 in UFC 31. Locked and loaded. Kevin Randleman lost 4 of his 13 fights so far and looked like an easy opponent for Chuck Liddell. He couldn't face Liddell from the start of the fight. The referee stops Liddell from striking and announces him as a winner. Chuck Liddell vs. Guy Mezger 8-1. Guy Mezger was one of the experienced opponents of the Chuck Liddell streak. Both of them faced each other on 27th May 2001 in Pride 14, Clash of the Titans. But the match was not as much exciting as the fans were expecting. It ended in just 2 rounds. Fortunately, Chuck Liddell defeats the Metzger in the second round on KO punches and moved his streak to 8-1. Chuck Liddell vs Murilo Bustamante 9-1. Murilo Bustamante has never lost any of his 7 fights so far and is very confident of defeating the emerging star Chuck Liddell. But Chuck Liddell was also very confident near his recent victory against experienced Guy Metzger. Both of them faced each other on 28th September 2001 in UFC 33 Victory in Vegas. Although Murilo tried his best but couldn't produce the winning results, Chuck Liddell announced the winner on a unanimous decision after the third round. Chuck Liddell vs Amar Suluev 10-1. This fight was held on 11th January 2002 in UFC 35 Throwdown. Both of them showed great strength from the start of the first round till the end of the third round, but couldn't get the results. In the end, a decision was made unanimously in favor of Chuck Liddell, who moved his streak to 10-1 with this wonderful win. Chuck Liddell vs Vitor Belfort 11-1. Both of them won 10 of their fights so far and were looking to add another one to their streak. The fight was held on 22nd June 2002 in UFC 37.5, as real as it gets. After the nail-biting 3 rounds, the decision was made unanimously in favor of Chuck Liddell, who managed to move his streak to 11-1. Chuck Liddell vs Renato Sobral 12-1. Chuck Liddell faces Renato Sobral in his 12th streak match on 22nd November 2002 in UFC 40 Vendetta. The fans were not expecting that the fight would end in the very first half hour, but Chuck Liddell proves to be strong for Renato and defeats him on TKO punches in the very first half. Chuck Liddell vs Randy Couture 12-2. This was the second fight, which comes in losing cause of the Chuck Liddell. The fight was held on 6th June 2003 in UFC 43 Meltdown. Chuck Liddell fought well until the third round, but it was not enough to defeat Randy Couture. He lost the fight on TKO punches in the third round. Chuck Liddell vs Alistair Overeem 13-2. Chuck Liddell and Alistair Overeem faced each other on 10th August 2003 in Pride, Total Elimination 2003. After the previous loss against Randy Couture, Alistair was very keen to win this game. Fortunately, he won the fight in the very first round on KO punches and moved his streak to 13-2. Chuck Liddell vs Quinton Jackson 13-3. Chuck Liddell and Quinton Jackson faced each other on 9th November 2003 in Pride, Final Conflict 2003. Jackson was looking very strong with 17 wins so far, and he showed his strength during the fight. Chuck Liddell survived the first round somehow, but in the second round, couldn't bear the TKO punches from Jackson and lost the fight. Chuck Liddell vs Tito Ortiz 14-3. This was the first meeting of Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz on 2nd April 2004 in UFC 47 It's On. But it proved very worse for Tito Ortiz as Liddell becomes the very first person to knock him out on TKO punches at 38 seconds of the second round. Chuck Liddell vs Vernon White 15-3. This fight was held on 21st August 2004 in UFC 49, unfinished business. Both of them showed great spirit from the start of the fight, but Chuck Liddell proved too strong for Vernon White. He punched on the White's face at the very start of the first round and easily added another victory in his streak. Chuck Liddell vs Randy Couture 16-3. This was the second time Chuck Liddell faced Randy Couture in his streak on 16th April 2005 in UFC 52 Couture vs Liddell 2. In their first fight, Randy Couture defeated him in the third round, so Liddell really wanted to win this time. Fortunately, he defeated Couture this time in the very first round on KO punches. Chuck Liddell vs Jeremy Horn 17-3. Chuck Liddell really wanted to defeat Jeremy Horn this time due to his previous loss against him. Both faced each other for the second time on 20th August 2005 in UFC 54 Boiling Point. The first round started, and Horn landed on inside leg kick. In reply, Liddell also landed a leg kick and a few counter punches. The same spirit showed throughout the second and third rounds, but in the fourth round, Chuck Liddell was able to win the fight on TKO punches. Chuck Liddell vs Randy Couture 18-3. This time, Chuck Liddell was going to face Randy Couture for the third time in his career on 4th February 2006 in UFC 57 Liddell vs Couture 3. Randy Couture defeats Liddell in their encounter, while in the second fight, Liddell snatches the victory. So both of them wanted to win this fight. But in the end, Liddell defeated Randy Couture in the second round on KO punches. Chuck Liddell vs Renato Sobral 19-3. Chuck Liddell and Renato Sobral faced each other on 26 August 2006 in UFC 62, Liddell vs Sobral. Renato Sobral was very confident on defeating Liddell after winning 27 of his fights so far. But Liddell has also won 18 fights so far and has much experience of dealing with tense situations. Fortunately, he was able to defeat Renato Sobral on TKO punches at 1 minute and 35 seconds of the first round. Chuck Liddell vs Tito Ortiz 23. Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz faced each other on 30th November 2006 in UFC 66, Liddell vs Ortiz 2. Both of them already faced each other back in 2004, where Liddell won the fight on TKO punches. He was very confident this time as well to add another win in his streak. But this time, Tito Ortiz gave him a little tough time. In the end, Liddell was able to win the fight on TKO punches after the referee stoppage. Chuck Liddell vs Quinton Jackson 24. Quinton Jackson was one of those guys who proved very tough for Liddell. Their second fight was held on 26th May 2007 in UFC 71. Liddell vs Jackson. This time, Liddell really wanted to win due to his defeat in their first fight back in 2003. But unfortunately, he couldn't win this time and lost the fight on TKO punches in the first round. Chuck Liddell vs Keith Jardine 25. Chuck Liddell and Keith Jardine were going to face each other on 22nd September 2007 in UFC 76 Knockout. Liddell put all his efforts into winning but couldn't produce the results in his favor and lost the fight on the split decision. This was very disappointing for Liddell as he lost 2 consecutive fights in his career for the first time. Chuck Liddell vs Wanderlei Silva 21-5. This fight was held on 29th December 2007 in UFC 79 Nemesis, which became very important for Chuck Liddell due to his previous 2 losses. But it looked not easy for him to defeat the experienced Silva. The fight continued for 3 rounds. In the end, Liddell managed to win on a unanimous decision. Chuck Liddell vs Rashad Evans 21-6. Chuck Liddell faced Rashad Evans on 6th September 2008 in UFC 88 Breakthrough. Rashad Evans was undefeated so far with 11 continuous wins and very confident of adding another one in his winning streak. At the same time, Liddell was looking to rebuild his hype after the 2 recent losses, but he couldn't get the desired results and lost this one as well on KO strikes at 1 minute and 51 seconds of the second round. Chuck Liddell vs Mauricio Shogun Rua 21-7. Chuck Liddell and Mauricio faced each other on 18th April 2009 in UFC 97 Redemption. This was the fight which many MMA fans were dying to see. Firstly, the fight was scheduled in UFC 85 London, where both wrestlers have been set back due to the back injuries. Unfortunately, Liddell again lost the fight on TKO punches in the very first round. Chuck Liddell vs Rich Franklin 21-8. Chuck Liddell faced Rich Franklin on 12th June 2010 in UFC 115, Liddell vs Franklin. But it proved very worst for Liddell. He lost another fight. This was the first time when Liddell lost 3 consecutive fights. He lost the fight in the very first round on KO punches. After that, he left wrestling for almost 8 years until 2018. Chuck Liddell vs Tito Ortiz 21-9. After almost 8 years, Chuck Liddell faced Tito Ortiz on 24th November 2018 in Liddell vs Ortiz 3. Both of their first fights were won by Chuck Liddell, and he was very confident of winning this one as well. But this time, Tito Ortiz managed to win KO punches in the very first round.
Hope you enjoyed our video. Please like, comment, and share it. See you all in the next one. Thank you. Bye.